Not one, not two, not three, but four NFL running backs made history on this date. What did they do? On the other side. Cool Sports presents On the Table. Well, I hope your week is going well, VIP. Cole Johnson is right here, live and in living color on the daily. Is on tap, presented by Cole Sports. It is Thursday, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes, Thursday. And I really am enjoying what I'm doing with you all. And I enjoy coming to this time of the week because I get to throw it back a little bit. So since this is Throwback Thursday, I want to throw it back in this fashion. In this episode's we go back to December 3rd, 2000. Yes, this is the 20th anniversary of when this happened. It was a special Sunday in the NFL on that day because it wasn't one. No, it wasn't two. No, it wasn't three. No, it was four. Four running backs who on this date in 2000 gained over 200 yards on the ground. It has not happened before. It has not even happened since. And of course, it definitely hasn't happened since because we're starting to see a dearth of 100-yard backs in a game. But four backs gained over 200 yards. So let me break this down for you. The first one that I'm going to talk about is Curtis Martin, and I've always loved his game. He was a very patient runner, and he got his due. Now he's a Hall of Famer. He was a patient runner. He really took his time. He wanted to make sure that everything he did right, and he somewhat was a forerunner to Le'Veon Bell, but the difference was he wasn't as explosive in terms of hitting holes as Le'Veon Bell. He was almost as patient as Le'Veon, but he didn't hit the holes quite as hard or quite as explosively. But along with that, he also carried a wallop too when he ran, and I loved that about him. And plus, he had decent hands. He wasn't the greatest of catchers, but he wasn't bad from the backfield either. And well, when you come from Bill Parcells, because he played with them a long time with the Patriots and then the Jets, you have to know what you're doing. Because if you're on a Bill Parcells team, you got to do a lot to impress the man. So on that date, let's see, the Jets were playing the Colts. Yeah, the Jets were playing the Colts. I'm sorry, and Martin carried the rock 30 times. He gained a then franchise record 203 yards, and he scored a touchdown as well. And he led the Jets to a 27-17 victory over the Colts. This is going to be a running theme. Tune in at the end of that to know what the running theme is. Well, Martin, I mean, he just carried so much favor with offensive linemen and quarterbacks, and he had so much respect. He gained so much respect from those who played against him. He just, as I said, he was just a patient runner. He didn't wow you. He didn't make you say, "Wow, okay, I need to pay attention to him every single week." But you knew you had the game plan for him because you look up and he's already gained 100 yards in the game. And 30 times he was a workhorse. So, I mean, you keep feeding him the rock, and he got stronger as the game wore on, and he was not afraid to let you know his presence was on the field, and you had to account for him every time he touched the ball. The second back who on this date in 2000 gained over 200 yards was Tampa Bay Bucks Warrick Dunn. And also Atlanta Falcons as well, but mostly the Bucks. And he was on the Bucks on this date. He carried the ball 22 times. He gained 210 yards, and he scored 2 touchdowns in the Bucks win over the Cowboys 27-7. Dunn was the prototypical look. Look, I'm not saying he was a prototypical guy. He was a prototypical look of the scat back, the third down back, the guy that you would want to leak out the backfield and catch the ball. And teams wanted to do that with him, but Dunn always said, look, I am a 3 down back too. I can show you better than I could tell you. I could carry this rock. I know I got speed. I know I got hands. I know I'm short, and I know I'm small and diminutive, but I got speed. I got burst, and I can show you a thing or two out this backfield toting the rock too, and I can go between the tackles and between the guards, and I won't have a problem with that. I have no problem hitting the holes up the middle. I have no issue doing that. Just give me the chance to do it, and I'll show you. Well, this was one of the games, if not the game in his career, where he showed that. And yeah, he had a chance to be that in other situations, but mostly he was considered the scat back, and that's how he was, I guess you could say, situated, game planned for, game planned against, strategized. But Dunn, if you weren't careful, he would let you know that you got to account for me, and I'm not just a third down back, and I'm not just coming in the game only on third downs. And I'm not just going to hit home runs. I can hit them. I can go for the cycle. And Dunn was that type of back. And I always loved this about Dunn. The guy has a wonderful program where he assists single mothers with first-time homes. And he will always be one of my favorite NFL players ever, just because of that alone. His heart has always been that way because, well, he grew up in a single mother household. And he said that if he ever had a chance to do that for her, he would do that. And then once he did it for his mom, his own mother, he said, well, I'm going to pass that on. And if I could do that for other single mothers, I'm going to do that for them. And he continues to do it even to this day. Great running back. Does not get the due that he deserves. Warrick Dunn for the Bucks. 22 carries, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns as the Bucks beat the Cowboys that day, 27-7. Running back number 3 on this list of running backs who gained over 200 yards on December 3rd, 2000, Corey Dillon. And this is what's so special about Dillon. So this wasn't the first nor the second time in 2000 he gained over 200 yards on the ground. No. And see if I get this dates right. In October, he gained 278 yards against the Broncos. I think later on, either later on in October or early November, but it was around that. It was around that time period. He gained 246 yards against the Titans, I believe. And so this was the third go around for him, gaining over 200 yards, 35 carries, 216 yards and a touchdown. The Bengals win 24-13 over the Cardinals. Now, Dillon had the reputation of he was a hard worker. He didn't wow you with speed, but he had a burst. He didn't wow you with power, but he had a punch. He didn't wow you with decision through the hole, but he just kept hitting holes. And he didn't wow you with just the overall presence of he is a problem for as a running back, but he just kept being a problem as a running back. And along with that, he proved that he was great on the field, but he proved to be, or I should say he was rumored to be, a malcontent and a disruptive force and a chemistry destroyer in the locker room. And because of that, he went to the Bengals, and he was taken by the Patriots, where he won a couple of Super Bowl rings with them. And he fit them perfectly, because what Dillon eventually learned to do was he learned to be patient, and he learned to take what the offense gave him. He learned to take what the offensive line dictated to him. And if it was there, he would hit it. If it wasn't there, he'd find a way to hit it. And he was just great with that. And he was also good with blitz packages as well. Dillon, awesome back. Love his style. And then the fourth running back, who on December 3rd, 2000, gained over 200 yards, Mike Anderson. And I know there's many of you VIP that's saying, who? Mike Anderson? Who is this guy? Well, he was he was in that long line of Denver Broncos running backs that was started by Terrell Davis. He was one of them. And after him was another guy. Then after him was Clinton Portis. And the guy that's between Anderson and Portis, the name's escaping me. But the system was so good, they plugged in any guy who was between 5'10 and 6'1 and weighed between 200 and 220 pounds behind the backfield, and you had any type of burst and a great mind to see a hole, you basically were a running back in the Broncos system. And it worked. They just simply did their things, and they just simply chewed up yardage, chewed up clock, and helped out the defenses, as well as, of course, helped out the offenses as well. Now, he carried the rock 37 times. He gained 251 yards. And he scored not one, not two, not three, but 4 touchdowns in the Broncos' win over the Saints, 38-23. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the ball and his jersey from that day, Anderson's, they're all in Canton. He was a remarkable back for that year. Unfortunately, injuries just simply messed him up, and he was out of there. And unfortunately, the way the Broncos ran their system, it has sort of dissuaded a lot of teams today from running backs the way that the Broncos did, because they would have backs where they would have them tote the rock 320 to 370 times in a season. We would not even think twice about doing it. And so you would have those things happen along, I would say, also along with another Anderson, Jamal Anderson of the Falcons. Couldn't even think of the name. And he carried the rock in 1998 410 times. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the very first carry in 1999, tore his knee. And he was not the same ever since. So you had those types of tales, and then you saw the Broncos just go through running back after running back after running back after running back in a 10-year window and span, which made teams want to, I guess you could say, regroup and think defense started also become a little more athletic. Just look at the 2000 Ravens, that very same year, for an example. And so this is special, and I don't think we'll see this again, because the game today is so wide open and is so predicated on the passing game that it is going to be very difficult to see backs get the rock at least 30 times a game, let alone any contests. 3 of the 4 that I listed carried the rock 30 times in their game. Dunn was the only one that carried it only 22 times. But this was a feat that will not, I don't think, come again. I really don't. Just dealing with concussion protocols and how the game is moving in a spread the wealth type of system in terms of running, how the passing game has become more a focal point than definitely it was in 2000, and most assuredly how it was even in decades prior. It's going to be hard to see backs get this type of production every Sunday. But I will always say this to any and all NFL teams willing to listen. All of those stats I just mentioned, with Martin getting 203 yards, Dunn getting 210 yards, Dillon getting 216 yards, and Anderson getting 251 yards. Oh, and may I add, those are on the ground. I didn't even talk about what they got in the air. Those are all carries. All of those stats came in victories. And I tell NFL teams this: if you want to be fully successful on offense, you must run the ball. Because if you can, your chances of winning increase exponentially, in my opinion. But people want to be pretty. The game wants to be pretty. And people want to throw it 40, 50 times a game rather than run it 30. Suit yourself. I understand. However, these four proved on this day 20 years ago that the running game is necessary, is vibrant, and is important. And most importantly, the running game needs to come back and it needs to stay, because that's the only way the NFL will advance in the way that it's supposed to. With the quarterback, with an offensive line, with your pass rushers and the defensive line, with with the linebackers and secondary, with the wide receivers and tight ends. But the one position that helps everybody stabilize itself, offense and defense, because it deals with time possession, is the running back. Kudos to you, the running back. And also kudos to Curtis Martin, Warrick Dunn, Corey Dillon, and Mike Anderson on this date for making history, the likes of which I don't think we will ever see again. Now, if you want this wonderful shirt that you see right before your very eyes, the description box below has all the details as to get it and how many ways you can get it. And what backs stand out in your mind as to being the presence, the difference maker, and the presence maker that they were, like these four were on December 3rd, 2000? I want to know your answer. Like this video and share it throughout your social media. Comment below because I want to hear what you have to say. I love to hear what you have to say. And don't forget, hit that notification bell and subscribe to this channel for any and all content that emanates from here. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. I love you, VIP. This has been yet another installment of Cole Sports on the digital, on the visual, and on the video.